and welcome to Die Rollin. I'm the ever excitable Adam, and today I'm talking about Gutterfall Bounties. This is a pretty cool deck builder with a very unique theme of a Hollow Earth setting. What's Hollow Earth, you say? Well, the Hollow Earth idea is that basically beneath our very feet is another civilization that's been there for countless generations. And yeah, they basically go straight in for this one. So you are going to be in the Hollow Earth, you are a resident of there, and your soul is currently owned by a demon. Now, you're doing all these various different things for this particular demon. However, one day he calls you into his office and basically gives you an offer you can't refuse. Apparently, there is a very special soul out there that he wants, and it is currently in the possession of one of these 6 kind of shady underworld leaders. And if you can get this soul off of this person, then you will be given your soul and your freedom back. So obviously you are desperate to kind of get this back. So you're going to be going up against your fellow players to try to get your soul first. The first person to find out who the bad guy is and kill him to get that soul will be the victor of this game, while everyone else is going to be in servitude to the demon for the rest of their days.
So here we have Gutterfall Bounties, and I've got the prototype here. So the end result might look a little bit better than this, but one thing I really have to note on here, the artwork is absolutely fantastic for all the various different kind of areas you're going to be going into. Just great, looks lovely. And I feel like once you have a board which is a bit shinier than this, not a prototype board, it'd be pretty good. You've got your own standees as well for your characters. So that's Harlow, who looks like he's kind of like a Cyberpunk style kind of PI. And then we have Ghost here, and she's kind of like a cyber sniper kind of scout character. So each of these 6 kind of districts, we have a bunch of bounties that we're going to be looking at. And these are the kind of like the people you're going to be after and killing. This red character here, this is one of the main bad guys in this, one of the bosses in here, and you're going to be trying to find one of these who has the amulet, and the amulet's basically got this lost soul in there, which the demon who owns your soul is willing to kind of exchange this soul for your soul. So it's in your best interest to kind of track down whoever it is, and to do that, everyone has a couple of lead cards at the beginning of the game, with one of these cards kind of hidden in an envelope or underneath the board. But yeah, whoever's on here is the person who's got the kind of amulet. So you're going to be going around fighting bad guys and looking at your hand of what kind of leads you have. So we know that Jakarta executive who's in this deck, because we've got her in our hand, we know that she is not the person who has the amulet. So we don't need to worry about kind of fighting her off. And we also know that Kingfish, we also have his card here, so it means we're not going to have to worry about fighting him either. Unfortunately, we also got the false lead card, which is a blank card, which basically means, yeah, we're not quite sure. It's a false lead, so we only actually know 2 of the people. Whereas in this 2-player game setup I've got here, the other person actually has 3 characters there. So your characters themselves, you've got some nice little artwork on your board there. You've got the dice type that you need to score hits, and you've got a specific kind of ability for each character. You start off with the same kind of hand of cards like in any deck builder, and you're going to be using these to do various different things in combat and around the board. These kind of vary from moving around to the different locations to coming up with better attacks against enemies. And because this is a deck builder, you're going to be going to both the bazaar over this side and over to the arms dealer over this side to add extra cards to your deck by spending these kind of credits. You start the game with a bunch of credits, but as every round goes on, you're going to be getting more credits from your, like a bursary from your main kind of the demon who's in control of everything here. One thing to note as well is there is player versus player combat, because you only have 3 of these leads if you're playing a 2-player game, and you want to kind of narrow down exactly who has the amulet. So you're going to have to fight each other in this game to get the leads from the other person. So yeah, there is some player versus player stuff. There is no hand limit in this game as well, so you're basically going to be just getting a massive hand of cards here. You have 3 cards every round and you're adding into your hand, and it's very possible to have an entire handful of cards, 18 plus cards in your hand, which you can use in one swift kind of go. So on your turn, you can move along one of these lines to a place, do whatever the specific thing in that area will let you do. And then you can perform an action. Those actions kind of range from various different things, including going to the industrial zone here to fight whoever's in here. So you'd reveal who's on the top there. And you're going to be coming up against an enforcer. At this point, you'd basically be rolling dice. After playing some attack cards, you'd roll some dice and you'd basically have to beat him. These are the dice that he's going to roll in defense, and he scores a hits on any of these. It's worth noting if they've got armor as well, it means that anything of this type is kind of blocked out. So yeah, you're going to be going around the board. You're going to be kind of revealing these various different bad guys to take out. You're going to be killing them off. You're going to get the rewards, which are listed on their kind of bounties, and they come in different flavors as well. You've got the boss there, and you've got a grunt here. You can see you get different kind of values of money, and the big bads in this. If you there's no reward in here, because basically when you encounter one of these guys and you're sure that they're the person who is the boss, you get to fight them. If you beat them, you then have a quick look to say, hey, was this the person who's on the card? And it wasn't. And if it wasn't the person on the card, then basically you're out the game and the other player has to carry on to try to find out who was who has the actual soul. In this case, it's the Harbinger. On the left-hand side here, we've got all these various different cards you're going to be adding to your deck. Various different prices as well. So you have 100 here, you've got your 300 here, which is slightly more powerful, and then you have your 500s there, which add loads of dice to your combat rolls. So that's pretty cool there. And the dice in this are really nice. They've got some lovely kind of symbols on here, and I always love custom printed dice on this. On any games. So yeah, lots of really cool components in this. You also have an arms dealer over here, and these basically you're going to use shields to kind of protect you from particular damage types, and you can use weapons to apply particular damage types as well. Overall, this is a really well put together little game, and yeah, I'll tell you my thoughts, but I just wanted to show you the general kind of overlay and what you do in your turn and stuff. So this is kind of a really interesting version of Cluedo, in my honest opinion. I say this because in Cluedo, or Clue, depending on which part of the world you come from, you are trying to understand the identity of the killer, of whoever killed Mr. Body. And this is a very similar thing. You have a card at the beginning of the game which you're going to hide under the board or put in an envelope, and that has the identity of the main boss you're trying to find. And you yourself have a couple of cards in your hand which basically reveal the bosses that definitely don't have the soul. The other players also have these cards, so you're going to be trying to attack them to find what their leads are. You're going to be trying to get to the boss that you're pretty certain is the main boss first. And you're going to be doing various different things, picking these more cards into your hand, like weapons, attacks, adding extra attack dice to your roll, extra movement, using a wiretap to have a look at the lead cards from your fellow competitors when you're on the same space as them. It's got loads of things going on. One thing that's quite interesting about this is normally in deck building games that I played, you've got a bit of a hand limit. So you've got let's say 7 cards or something like that. Whereas this game, every round you're drawing 3 cards into your hand. So your hand gets bigger and bigger and bigger. And it's very possible to have one round where you basically just absolutely hammer the bad guys in this, because you've got so many cards you can use against them, and also your other players. So it's quite interesting, because if you're playing with another person for this and you're noticing, oh, they're not using all their cards there, they're just gaining more and more cards, you might think, well, maybe I need to keep cards myself, because if they're getting cards, a vast amount of cards, maybe they're trying to get close to me to attack me so they can see what my leads are.
So it's quite interesting. You really have to balance. There's a risk and reward element to this. You're trying to stay far away enough from the other players so that you can kind of do your own thing, finding other bounties, killing those, well, capturing those characters and getting the money, which you can then obviously buy new cards with. So you're kind of doing that, but you're also watching where the other players are. You're also trying to figure out who that main bad guy is, who has that amulet with the soul in is. So yeah, it's a really interesting little game, and like I say, it's not something that I've not played many Hollow Earth games, if I'm honest, and I really like the setting. It's got a really nice kind of intro in the rulebook that we were given, so it sets the theme really nicely. Like, I started reading, I was like, I have no idea where this is going. This is really interesting. And it would have been very easy just to do like a kind of cyberpunk setting, but they've kind of like done some really interesting characters, and the artwork in this game. One thing you probably hear a lot from me is saying how nice the artwork is in a lot of these games that I do play. And Gutterfall Bounties, the board is fantastic. I'm not sure how well it shows up on camera when I'm showing off this prototype version, but the board art is absolutely lovely. And all the cards have really nice artwork. The characters are so different as well. I know the two characters I showed off during this kind of little preview here were like very kind of cyberpunky, like a private investigator and kind of like a cyber scout character. But you know, there's kind of lizards in there. There's a mushroom knight character. There's some really interesting characters with some very different kind of unique abilities. And all in all, this is a game I've really enjoyed getting out and having a play of. Unfortunately, I've not been able to sit down with the other die rollers and go through this. I've just played this with my partner a few times. And I say unfortunately because I always enjoy playing deck building games with Will and Jamie, because Will is a huge fan of card games and Jamie is a huge non-fan of deck building games. So it's really interesting to get both their opinions and exactly where this kind of fits within their kind of their preference. And I think this is one that Jamie would definitely enjoy, because you are building a deck and you're moving around and stuff like that, but it feels like it doesn't feel like you're just building a hand of cards or a deck of cards. It feels like you are actively trying to fight off these, fight against your competitors and also try to get these leads. And obviously also like take out other kind of bounties along the way. So it's really fun. And yeah, what more can I say? Very thematic, really lovely artwork, nice gameplay, simple to learn, simple to play. So yeah, all in all, really positive feedback from myself about this particular game. Negatives, what can I say? This obviously was a Kickstarter kind of preview for us, so the rulebook wasn't 100% clear, but I put that down to it being a prototype kind of rulebook. And after speaking to the designers, they did show me some other kind of sample rulebook information, and that kind of cleared up things. And a lot of times when I wasn't quite clear on what the rules were, I was able to kind of make decisions on knowing other games. And when I queried them with the developer, it was all pretty much spot on with what they had intended you to play the game. So it's very kind of intuitive, I'd say. Any other negatives? No, I don't think so. I think this is definitely a game you should check out because it's got a lovely, unique theme. There's not many Hollow Earth games that I'm aware of out there. So yeah, definitely check out that theme because that's really interesting and kind of different. And yeah, it's just a very well put together game. I'd love to see what the actual end result of this game is, because just this prototype version is really lovely. So yeah, I'm just kind of waffling on now. So would I recommend you having a look at the Kickstarter for this? Definitely. If you're a fan of kind of sci-fi fantasy, if you're a fan of deck building games, if you're a fan of Cluedo as well, then yeah, check out this. It's a really fun title. So I've been Adam. Please, if you've enjoyed this video, then check out all our various other videos on YouTube, and you can also find us on Facebook and Instagram. And until next time, guys, stay safe and keep rolling.